तू चलता चल, तू चलता चल, तू चलता चल.
Jayant, it is such a pleasure, to be able to get you on this platform.
Yeah.
I would not say to speak to my student, but
I know.
to the youth in general.
Exactly.
It's such a good thing. And I have been your admirer since my days. And it'll be great that you can speak to, these kids. They can pick up certain things, as we talk about your life and all that. कुछ ना कुछ छोटी-छोटी चीजें, आती रहती है जो impact डालती हैं. हाँ, Yogita, please do some introduction for Brigadier Jayant.
Good morning to one and all. Today we are grateful to have with us Brigadier Jayant Tiwari, sir. He is Shaurya Chakra, third highest gallantry award. He had been in combat leadership roles across various border states of India, Jammu Kashmir, Northeast, as well as he has got experience in United Nations missions in Iraq and Kuwait. We will also get to know about this international exposure. He had been awarded the Gallantry Award in face of terrorists. He has also shared his experience, which I shared with you all. And now, right now, he is motivating, inspiring people, and mentoring people like us. For future leaders. He had also been an instructor at IMA, so that's combat roles plus training roles experience he is using now for us. So thank you, sir, for joining today at No Frills Academy. It would be great to listen to you. Nehru, sir, I would like you to welcome, sir.
Okay, Jayant, I already welcomed you. So we'll keep the talk on an informal manner. Becomes easy to assimilate for everybody.
Yes.
तो हम चलते हैं भाई. तो यार बॉस ये बताओ मुझे, there some of the questions I never asked you, but we've been together for so long. ये तुम्हारा मोटिवेशन क्या था यार IIM ज्वाइन करने का शुरू में when you joined us?
Money, to tell you very frankly, this question, when we were in the army, ये सवाल actually बड़ा pertinent है कि why do you want to join army? ये एक सवाल सा होता है. और जब हम लोग एकेडमी जब एसएसबी में जा रहे थे तब ये आई थिंक उस समय ये कुछ एक सवाल होते थे कि someone asks you why do you want to join army and why not this and why not that. एक उस टाइम का माइंडसेट था. और एक अब मैं probably after my army term when I am into the civil domain so called, तो यहाँ पे भी आके फिर मैंने अपना सोचने लगा कि आफ्टर ऑल ये क्वेश्चन का जवाब क्या है truthfully. And then I came to a conclusion कि बहुत सारी चीजें होती हैं. I may not say like मैं बोलता था कि मुझे कोई ऐसा बहुत बड़ा पैशन नहीं था. कुछ मैं बच्चों को देखता हूँ आजकल that I want to join army and army and army, they say like this. तो मैं उतना पैशनेट नहीं था. I could not speak that way कि मैं इतना था. But down the line, what my father was in army, of course, and maybe उसका एक इफेक्ट होगा. हम लोग ग्रेजुएशन में थे और ग्रेजुएशन में थे and I was okay at studies, reasonably good, and I was wanting to do something else. But हम लोग one fine day we applied also for CDS exams and pass हो गए हम. उसके बाद से SSB हुआ, उसमें भी pass हो गए, and then I joined academy and life moved on. But today when I talk to people and when I recollected my life, I think बहुत सारी चीजें embodied हो जाती हैं हमारी सोच में. And one example I would like to give it. When I was in class 5, this was when my father was posted at Babina. और 5वीं क्लास में वो मुझे याद है हिंदी के क्लास टीचर होते थे और उन्होंने वो एक पहले होता था ना कि राइट अ लेटर टू योर फादर कि आप क्या बनना चाहते हैं जिंदगी में, क्या करना चाहते हैं, कुछ इस समय का था. और मुझे बहुत अच्छी से याद है कि वो हिंदी का था एंड आई वाज वेरी गुड एट लैंग्वेज और मेरी हैंडराइटिंग भी अच्छी थी. तो आई रोट और छोटा सा लिख के हमने सबमिट कर दी कॉपी. तो मेरे ख्याल से शाम के टाइम में या दूसरे दिन क्लास टीचर ने बोला कि अपने फादर को बुला के लाना. ना फादर को बुला के लाना स्कूल में, इट इज बेसिक यार कि तूने कुछ गड़बड़ किया होगा जरूर. एक्चुअली इट इज स्टैंडर्ड. तो मैं भी आया, बट आई वाज दैट टाइम really a good boy. I might have been adulterated now. So मैं आया, मैंने मदर को बोला कि ऐसा क्लास टीचर ने बोला है, तो फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन वाज कि क्या तुमने कुछ किया है क्या गड़बड़? मैंने कहा नहीं यार, मैंने कुछ गड़बड़ नहीं किया. But then why should he ask you father to come? I don't know. And your father came and my mother would have told. He also asked me, beta, why has he asked me to come? I said, I don't know. Beta. So anyway, he didn't ask me, and next day I went to the school. And my father was brought in by the class teacher after some time. And वो खुशफुश होती है ना क्लास में यार कि तेरे पापा आए हैं, आज कुछ डंडा पड़ने वाला है, कुछ होगा तमाशा. Well, I was okay. And he takes out that notebook where I had written that, and he reads there. And Mani, I think since you asked me this question now I've been narrating on my as to how thought processes remain embodied in you. कहाँ पे क्या चीज लिंक होती है, one does not know. तो उसमें मैंने लिखा था कि letter to father, कि the normal this thing, and I wrote that कि मैं एक भारत की सैन्य सेवा में जाना चाहता हूं और मैं भारत का सिपाही बनना चाहता हूं, और देश के प्रति अगर जरूरत पड़े तो मैं अपनी जान को भी निछावर करने को तैयार हूं. तो ये जो लास्ट की लाइन शब्द था, लाइन, आई थिंक वाज मूव्ड बाय माय क्लास टीचर गॉट मूव्ड कि यार ये बच्चा जो है ना 5वीं का, और ही इज टॉकिंग शहादत की बात और ये सब है. वेल, आई थिंक इट जस्ट केम टू माय माइंड एंड आई रोट इट. लेटर ऑन आई रियलाइज्ड कि अगर मैं ये कहूं कि मैं सीडीएस ऐसे अपीयर हो गया, चला गया, nahi, I think there was something which was already there in my body existing. So when today's children, when they say that I wish to join academy or military or Navy or Air Force, well, today's children are, I think, more aware. They are more clear in their domains. I'll see put it there. So this is how I think ended up joining. I always loved, of course, जो पहले के जो सेनानी होते थे उनकी स्टोरीज में पढ़ता था काफी. तो आई थिंक इट वाज देयर इन माय माइंड, बट आई वाज नॉट solely focused to join army itself. My design was to do some research work, actually, to be very precise, Nehru, and do some further studies. But when I got selected, I asked my father ki papa, I wanted to do this, and he only told me ki it is your choice, but I think you are आपको लग रहा है कि आप आराम से मिल गया, but you have put in your effort. So it is your call, but I will always suggest, and I took that call, and I think it transformed my life. Certainly.
यार जयंत, ये कौन सी क्लास में लिखी थी आपने चिट्ठी?
5वीं क्लास की बात है, 5th बगीना में, केंद्रीय विद्यालय.
5वीं में आपने चिट्ठी लिखी शहादत के बारे में, and buddy, God almost brought you there.
Yes.
तू तो मरते मरते बचा यार.
मैं कोरिलेट करता हूँ मनी की, everything happens with a purpose. हम हर छोटी छोटी चीजें हैं. Today, of course, I am into that process. I think we will let you know later. आज के टाइम में मैं उसी को I am trying to discover my life and share with people. So आज का प्लेटफॉर्म मनी, इसलिए मैं बहुत I was very happy to be very precise that these are the minds. हम लोग भी इस स्टेज से गुजरे हैं. बहुत सारी चीजें होती हैं, बहुत डिफरेंसेस आते हैं, सोच होती है, परेशानियां होती हैं कि नहीं होगा. Everything is possible. जिंदगी में हर चीज पॉसिबल. आई थिंक देयर इज नथिंग वेरी थिंग व्हिच आर वेरी बिग, और हो जाती है.
जयंत, अभी ना क्यूरियोसिटी हैज बीन अरिजन अबाउट दिस, दिस शहादत वर्ड आ गई. आपका ऑपरेशन है शौर्य चक्र वाला. यार थोड़ा इसके बारे में बताइए दो, क्या क्या हुआ था. इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट, देन विल मूव विद अदर थिंग.
दैट द एक्शन ऑन व्हिच आई गॉट द शौर्य चक्र.
हाँ यार, वो थोड़ा बता यार. मेरे को इसके सवाल मैंने भी आपसे पूछे हुए हैं पहले भी.
So this was precisely on 31st July 1996, and my unit was battalion was deployed in Kashmir. This was in Kupwara area, to be very precise, in the general area Tregam. And I was the company commander. I had gone back after my staff college for AE period and all. And that area is, of course, even today, I suppose it is infested. And that time, of course, it was quite one of the major routes of people moving across. So, and we were into it. Some encounters here and there, every 3rd day, 4th day, some connections. So this was a day on 30th July, I suppose, one day prior, I was away somewhere, and my brigade commander, if you recollect money, there used to be one DP merchant company commander, IMA में. He was the brigade commander.
अच्छा, okay.
And somehow we had developed a good connect. So he looked forward because I knew my entire area very well. So he called me, and so I went there, and he said, "Ki we have got the intercept, and there is some intercept, and which is so very clear. So you also listen." I listened, and those code things were there, 33, 34, all these. I said, "Sir, ye to iska hai, ye iska hai." And one guy was a battalion commander of Hizbul Mujahideen from that area, and one guy was a company commander for the same group. He was on a similar belt. I said, "Sir, ये तो इन दोनों का कोड है, and ये जो बता रहे हैं, ये दोनों आपस में बात कर रहे हैं that there is a group which has infiltrated, and they are staying night at some, they called it, I think, 0 point, something like that they are at 0 point, and either the company commander was telling the battalion commander कि मैंने इनको यहाँ तक किया है, you come and take them further ahead." So this group of 12 mercenaries, foreign mercenaries, were to be escorted by the battalion commander. Farooq Zangli was his name, of course. So this was the input. Now the point was, which is that 0 point? They said they are going to be at 0 point. No, 0 point was their code. So we could, by our knowledge, both the guys were staying just on the below of a ridge line, which we knew it. Unka ghar tha. And that's how the conversation was there. So that ridge line used to come and then used to take a turn down. So I suggested, I said, "Sir, यहाँ पे तो और कुछ है नहीं. I think यही एक point हो सकता है. बाकी तो बड़ी बड़ी ridge line है, चल रही है." So anyway, we came to conclusion there that probably we'll go up and search. So we decided, and throughout the night, we started moving up, and it was almost 3 to 4 hours of a climb from a little, because you can't naturally straight away go up. And I remember we were moving with, I think, 24, 25 guys together. And aim was to reach there by 3:30, 4 o'clock. So we were almost there by 4:30 or so. So we had adopted, because this input was very, very clear. And it should not happen that, you're climbing and they are sitting there and they will invite you that come. It would have been very hazardous. And actually, when you're climbing the mountain from a distance, it might appear a point, but when you're climbing mountain, everything is, is so wide and you really can't make out. And there was nothing known as something like, you are going on to hitting onto the 0 points like that. Anyway, we climbed up and climbed little behind onto the ridgeline. And our process was that we will go down searching. So we came up, and when the day broke, we started carrying out search. We searched for an hour plus. Very deliberately, we couldn't find anything. And you see, I had to make a call because I was the mission leader. I was the company commander. And it was appearing to me that there are no militants, or we are not at the right spot. अब पहाड़ के बीच में और जंगल, thick जंगल के बीच में, it is very difficult to make out, are you at the right spot or not? Whether that angle is there or not, until you go down. Anyway, we did the search. We could not find anything. So when I was satisfied that either this 0 point is not where I was thinking, or something is there. But I was convinced, I said, okay, let's move down. So when we were about to move down, probably there was a very thick bushy patch around 50 yards by 50 yards. And I could see that, we were rolling down from there. So I divided my party into 3. JCO was there onto the right side, and I went to the left side little, and NCO Havaldar followed with one party, straight route. So I went to the left side and went ahead. I could see and came up ahead. And the JCO was other side of the bushes. I couldn't see him. And the NCO's party, when they're falling behind me, suddenly a guy shouts, बहुत जोर से कि साहब वो कुछ है इधर में, something like that. I think बोलने में मुझे ज़्यादा time लग रहा होगा. And I turned, I said, यार कोई है तो fire करो. And for the people who are listening here, and Mani, you will agree that it is very tricky situation, that it should not happen that we open fire and we kill civilians. So that is a very, very dilemma and situation like that. And probably because of that Gorkha soldier would have shouted, "Ki sahab kya kare?" And I said, "Ki yaar, agar hai to fire karo." And I came up. When I came up, by the time he had stopped the firing, I came up and I said, "Ki yaar, tune to kitna fire kiya?" So he had actually put the LMG light machine on shoulder, or magazine was loaded. Bola sahab, wo to ek puri magazine out ho gayi. I gave him a slap. I say, "Yaar, tune to kya itna fire thodi karna tha." Anyway, मैंने कहा क्या हुआ, किधर कोई बंदे कोई मरे हैं कि ऐसी फायर कर दिया? बोलता साहब वो एक तो ये सामने मरा था. I saw that and he was in Pathan suit, civil dress. And I say, यार तुम लोगों ने civilian मार दिया लगता है यार. And I moved inside comfortably like this. And then there was another guy in the similar kind of a dress. He was actually dying. And I said, yaar, ye to civilian hai, tum log ne matlab, I was little not very happy. And then I took ऐसे turn किया मैंने सिर, as I suddenly see there were huge rucksacks, combat color. They were all packed to leave. And the moment I saw those rucksacks, I jumped. I said, they are militants. And then they opened fire for somewhere inside the bushes. Of course, the bullets never hit us. But it was confirmed that they are militants, and they were actually ready to move. And they probably got surprised. They could not, we were, I think, credit certainly goes to the team that they were moving really stealthily. Otherwise, after moving for 5-6 hours and thinking that nothing is there, it is one of those days, we get used to and we start moving like that. Probably they could not hear our movement. Otherwise, it would have been fatal on us. They would have ambushed us. Anyway, after that, the action started. Now, the thing was that the militants were hiding somewhere in the bushes. And JCO also from the other side, he also opened fire. And I asked him, he said, "Sahab, I could hear some movement here." So they could be probably inside that bushy patch. So I went up and there was no movement after that. So I went up and we fired, machine guns and threw grenades inside those areas. But there was no firing or no retaliation from the militants. Now the question was to take a call. कि 2 militant मरे हैं, 12-13 rucksacks हैं. It's good enough. Mission is over. I think militants have run away. But I thought that no, I think we still have to search. We will go inside and carry out a search. So that was the decision I had to take, and I took that call. मैंने कहा इतनी firing की है, not even one round their militants have fired. So या तो they have a very high code of conduct, or they have moved away. And we entered. We slowly entered. And on our haunches, we were sitting and moving. We were 5 people, I remember. I was there, my radio operator 2, 3, 4, 2 more soldiers, and one was dog handler. We were 5 people, one me and one side, very close, we were moving, step by step, bush to bush. And suddenly I realized that my one guy was next to me. He just fires almost like at me. And I tell him what? So actually in front of me, there was a bush. And just in front of bush, there was a militant who was just sitting like this. And this Gurkha, he just fires straight onto the militant. Very close. It was exceedingly close. But anyway, I think, good credit for him that he shot him, but no other retaliation. And we moved ahead. And after that, I could see another one. So, I shot it. And before he could shoot, he was shot there. Now, so this was the 4 guys who were shot. And after that,
you were carrying a carbine with you, or what were you carrying?
AK-47.
Yeah,
we all were carrying AK-47.
AK-47.
Yeah. And so after that, there was a slight opening into the bushy patch. So we got up. And I got up, and the moment I got up, I called up for the dog handler. I said, "Yaar, isko na smell karao," because it was in the heat. smell karao, and he said, sir, bilkul sahi baat hai. Smell to kara denge, but the problem is that the militants, if they are close by, the dog will straight away take you there, and it might be fatal. So that's why sometimes, people, when they think that, army, everything moves like hierarchy, or just boss ne bola hai, wahi hota hai. No, it is not like. When we are in operation, we all are leaders, and every Jawan is a leader. And I straight away accepted the point of view of dog handler. He says, "Saab, उनको टेल मार्क्स हम देख के चलते हैं, अभी फ्रेश है घास के ऊपर, पता चल जाएगा, जहां जरूरत होगी वहीं पे करेंगे." You see, he was a सिपाही, but I really credit his mindfulness or thought. We didn't use the dog. I got up and we started moving. There was a bifurcation of foot marks. So I moved, and in the meantime, I heard some firing. And that firing, militants were firing using AK-47 with silencer.
Okay.
So that awaz was coming little put type.
Understood.
You could make out. So they opened fire, but we couldn't make out कि सामने से आ रहा था. So I moved little upish, करीब 10 step, and there was a Jawan who was there. So I was telling कि ख्याल रखना यार, इधर से ही फायर किया था उसने. ऐसे सामने करके बता रहा था कि ख्याल रखना, इधर से ही फायर किया था. And there was, bushes were much taller than my Gurkha Jawan. And when I was telling that ख्याल रखना, इधर से ही फायर किया था उन्होंने, I saw those two militants there in front of me exactly, just the other side bushes, and I was up and they were firing at me. So this action, I very clearly remember that they were firing at me, and I knew that I heard that sound, they had fired, and I was very close, just like this, and I jumped. And when I jumped there, they actually kept firing, and I fell down. Now, when I fell down, I crossed that Jawan and then fell down. Fortunately for me, I fell down. In front of me, there was a tree. And these two guys was actually behind that tree. They started firing at me. So when I fell down, I knew that today I'm shot. It came to my mind. Because we had been through some encounters, but it was a very close, and I saw that he's firing for such a close like this, and I'm a target on up. I have to be hit. So when I fell down, first thing which I did was to breathe little heavily. So this was a feeling, and my breathing was perfectly fine. My arms were perfectly okay. So I thought, okay, it is again one of those great days. And then, of course, the firing started. I was there, and there was no other soldier. My radio operator was the guy who was actually witnessing everything from a little higher ground. And rest guys were on to behind. And then we kept firing three ke saath mein aise. And my magazine finished, which I had loaded on my weapon. So I उस magazine को निकाल के ऐसे drop किया, and I put my hand here to take out my another magazine. And then I realized that there was something wrong. I couldn't take out my magazine. Actually, what had happened, that burst he had hit was actually onto the left side of my chest. And the burst of bullets had actually hit the magazine, and magazine had busted. So I didn't have that. So that, and then busted, and those bullets had entered my hand. Fortunately, not inside my body. And that is the time I saw that I have been injured. And then I could feel that, my left side was all soaked in blood. And people ask me sometimes that, were you afraid or not? I said, there was no feeling of fear initially. But when I really realized that, you have been hurt, and you have been, bullet has hit you somewhere. Yes, there was a caution which was certainly put into mind. But the answer was to, either to eliminate them, or it was 1-to-1 fight. So I called for one of the Jawans, the magazine. And when they realized that I was asking for a magazine, they fired a lot of direct firing grenades all around me. So they could make out that he's the guy, maybe the officer or something. Anyway, one Jawan crawled to me. He just stood next to me, and he gave me magazine, and I think 4-5 burst, and those two guys were killed by the time. And that is the time, and then we came out. In the process, my rocket launchers I had placed onto a side. They also fired twice. Very close. It is not technically sound or tactically sound position, but they fired in a very close quarters launcher, because it was all innovative, whatever you had to do. So I placed and then I went. It was a very close, and twice rocket launchers had fired. And later on they said they are also seeing 2-3 guys moving that side. So one was to fire the launcher or to leave it, and time is at a premium. And then of course we culminated that operation. We searched the entire area again. After that injury, maybe an hour or so, and then consolidated the position. Then we spoke to everyone. And after that, coming down the mountain was around hour and a half again, walking down. So that was the basically operation. And so I was the casualty basically. I always felt that, in that tenure, I was the first casualty in my command. My soldiers, we had undergone a lot of encounters, but I always took a pride that under me, there was no casualty. I as a leader, could take the first bullet. So that was the thing. That was the operation for which I got the Shaurya Chakra award.
यार जयंत गोली लगी तेरे को पता ही नहीं चला?
No.
कुछ
I
नहीं
think
पता।
I never realized. That's what I was saying. When I fell down, I was dead sure that today I have to be hit, because it was so close that they can't miss me. And when I fell down, first thing which I remember very absolutely clear, that I got down and I breathed here, because I knew that I'm hit today, but I didn't know that I've been hit. Maybe that the mind was so much occupied there, and you jumped and you wanted to be there, and that's where the adrenaline rush is there so much. Your body is so warm, and your mind is to kill militants. And then and after getting down, I was still firing and engaging. One never knew that. That probably the pain. You see, I think that's a very finer issue, that pain is when we feel it, I think. When the mind, when I saw my blood, probably I told I think there was a caution came up that today you are hit, because I had a reasonable degree of encounters. Almost 4th day, 5th day, we used to have an encounter, successful, good encounters. But every time, we never had a casualty to ourselves. Not even one Jawan was ever any bullet touched. So,
जयंत ऑपरेशन में गोली लगने से हॉस्पिटल पहुंचने तक कितना घंटा elapse हो गया था आपका?
यार 1.5 घंटे तो मैं नीचे उतरा, उसके बाद से I think by the time I reached, people were there, and उसके बाद से 1 hour more, और गोली लगने से कुछ नहीं तो 3.5-4 घंटे यार.
तो कितना ब्लड लॉस हो गया था?
Blood loss was there, I think. By the time I came down the mountain, and I must tell you one more thing. When we are coming down, we saw one more rucksack. Just imagine, you are actually not, and Mani, I can always share and let people hear. Yes, when I was coming down, when I was away from this, I knew that I've been hit somewhere, but in the arm. So I was that much comfortable, and I could move. But my arm had become very thick. It has swelled up very badly, left upper arm. And by the time I came down, it was quite so, maybe half an hour there, 1.5, 2 hours, and an hour. Certainly not less than 3 hours. And of course, when I reached the hospital, in Dogrumal, there was no hospital. Field ambulance was there. And it was in Hartmann's that time.
Yeah.
And so when I went there, there was an acute ward. So we went there, and there was no officer ward, or there's nothing like that. So I went there, and that mobile X-ray machine was brought in. वो लंबा सा था ऐसे, and the doctor was there, and I lied down. So one guy comes up and he put a blade. कि सर ये शर्ट को काट के निकाल देंगे ऐसे, बिकॉज हाथ ना पूरा ऐसे स्वेल हो गया था, एंड लॉट ऑफ स्प्लिंटर मार्क्स, और काफी कुछ शर्ट वर्ट भी फट गया था. सो आई टोल्ड हिम, आई सेड वेट यार, ये क्या कर रहे हो तुम? बोलता साहब ये काट के निकालना पड़ेगा इसको शर्ट को. मैं कहा नहीं यार प्लीज. अब वो पता नहीं कहाँ चला गया, वो अभी तो रख नहीं पाया. मैंने कहा यार ये मेरा सोवेनियर है यार, तुम यार पंगा कर रहे हो, तुम इसको काट कूट के कमीज को हटा दोगे. एंड द डॉक्टर लेटर ऑन टोल्ड ही सेड आई वाज जस्ट स्टन्ड टू सी you are more worried about your souvenir to keep, और तेरे हाथ में दर्द नहीं हो रहा था. So I said, sir, pata nahi abhi kya hai, jo bhi hai. So I took out my shirt like this, and it was a good fun. When I was there for 17 days in that hospital, the staff of the Jawans of that hospital used to play volleyball in the evening. So after I think 7-8 days, I used to be in shorts and nothing wearing up. I used to go and play volleyball with them with one hand. So they used to be really admiring. He said, यार ये बंदा जो है ना, मैं कि यार हम normal आदमी हैं, या तो अपने कमरे में बैठ के रोते रहो. You keep cursing. So there are a lot of things associated with it. My wife didn't know till 3 days. She had to inform my parents. You see, this is a very great responsibility. The CEO, of course, has to intimate to the next of kin. And my wife had to inform my parents. And my wife could not speak to my parents for 3 days after knowing this instance. And she only suggested to me that, how could I, because the first question my parents would have asked her, कि तुमने उससे बात किया? तो मैं क्या जवाब दूंगी? And people knew that I used to speak to my wife every day. That operators knew it. And they were in Batinda. And they had placed a telephone next to my bed. But 2 days I was in a lot of, I think, blood loss and pain. So I could speak, but my wife said that I couldn't hear anything from you. Third day when she could hear, then of course she called up my parents. So these are the, the other issues. When I came down, I'll take this little liberty of saying, when I came down, they were in Batinda. My 3 daughters were very small. And in the evening, I was still in bandage. And we were sitting, and my wife asked me a question. Normal होता है कि यार तुम ठीक है, बहुत बहादुरी करते हो, शाबाशियां ले रहे हो, सब कुछ होगा. बट कभी जब एनकाउंटर होता है तो कभी मेरा ख्याल आता है. Now, Mani, this question I had forgotten. तो अब जब हम अपनी बात जब करते हैं तो कभी कभार लोग पूछते हैं कि सर क्या हुआ था, ऐसे हुआ था. Then I realized, and this question was very important question. And of course, I told her, I said, yeah, देखो, I do agree there. I say, it is my power actually comes from me probably. But thank God that you are not actually stopping me from getting into an encounter. Otherwise, me and my command would have got killed. But not that you are not there. Because it is the power and the love which, makes you do your job. Devote where you are. I said, that's where you exist. It is not that you have to exist in my thoughts like this, but you actually exist in my entire body. So I think that's what something, so this is what the Fauji life is. I think we all cherish that. There's no fear. I think you know it, Mani. So anyway, I think we have spoken a lot about this.
This is important. This is very important because these are very important. You see, when you come close to death and such things, you get too closer to your inner thoughts. Because
yes, Mani, and
बचेंगे नहीं बचेंगे जिंदगी क्या है क्यों किया मैंने get too close.
Yes, actually later on when I was admitted in hospital, Mani, let me share. I think I've never spoken this to social media. But when I was under operation, ho gaya 2 दिन, I used to be lying naked on my bed on the sheets because it was a lot of bloods which were there, and they had to cut my flesh because a lot of splinters and also 3 bullets at the hand and like that. And तब आपके दिमाग में आता था that the life would have been totally different. It is a fact. And sometimes it is all afterwards. It is all afterwards. And people used to come and of course meet you. That's a great action because the officers' casualty used to be very fatal those times. And of course I was a little fortunate that it came up. My CEO later on intimated me that next day, in the same night, Azad Kashmir and Islamabad radio news, they had declared on the radio, this was stated to me by my commanding officer, that these radio news, both the radio news had declared that we have killed our post commander. So I think I was reasonably, they used to, I think, love me. They knew me reasonably well. Our post commander has been killed today. And all the local newspapers had published that our post commander has been eliminated. So that's where when I write, of course, when I got posted as a brigadier in Kashmir, I try to, search for those newspapers. क्या वो newspaper तो रख लूँ? I think इससे ज़्यादा क्या होगा to see that you are leading a great life now. I couldn't get those papers because of their archival problems, but this is how it was. So it's a great life. Great life of adventure.
Definitely. I'm sure you have the attention of all the students attending. अच्छा ये बता भाई, ये जो था एसएसबी की कोई तैयारी की थी आपने? ये कुछ पता होता था क्या होने वाला है?
Yes, Mani, I think it is important. Important in the sense, not because I'm speaking to you or to the other people. I had also done, I'll tell you, I'm forgetting the name. We had gone to Chandigarh.
Oh, Minerva Academy?
No, Minerva, there was another. New Career?
I don't know. I know Minerva, I know one, Olive Green.
No, not Olive Green. It was a Careers Academy, a New Careers Academy.
अच्छा, मैं जानता नहीं हूँ.
Yeah, Minerva was there. Minerva was older. New Careers Academy. I think maybe that they were charging a little lesser if I recollect that. I think so. मुझे लगता था.
Okay.
And but I had attended that. But here, I think it's a very, very important question here. One is that preparation for whatever exam, whether NDA or CDS. Though I felt that ठीक है यार, हम ऐसे गए, पास हो गए, फिर SSB भी गए, कर लिया. नहीं, हम लोग जब succeed हो जाते हैं तो I think we feel like that. और जब जा रहे होते हैं तो बहुत सारी चीजें हैं. Otherwise, so even for the written exam, yes, one had to do preparation. I was good at maths, of course, and I used to be very fond of reading newspapers since very earlier days. तो थोड़ा सा वो current affairs का, those thought process were reasonably okay. And उस टाइम में current affairs की भी काफी books वगैरह we had read. We had done the preparation. SSB की जहाँ तक बात है, those 12, 13 days or 14 days were the time there. I remember we had gone to Chandigarh and we were 3, 4, 5. I think 5 of us were there. Watts was there. Watts, you remember?
Prem Mohan Watts, अपना केरल वाला.
Yeah. Watts was there. There was one guy, Unyal, he went to OTA. And RPS Dhillon, Artigar. And then Kamal Guljar Singh Bawa, he died in an encounter. He went to. So we 5 were there, and we went through all the issues. But I realized one thing that in SSB coaching, that I think we have to understand the concept behind it, and not mung it up there. You have to just feel free and understand the concept, how it happens, how the mindset has to be there. And I think I was very comfortable into imbibing that. वो कभी कभार होता है ना, जब आदमी पढ़ते हैं तो बहुत जोर लगा के आदमी सोच के पढ़ता है, तो शायद वो उसी में रह जाता है उसमें. But I was very free at studies also. I used to read through something like behind the lines. इसका क्या है मतलब? What is the basically concept behind it, how it works, and what is it trying to say? If I'm writing, making a sentence out of a word, so इसका एक क्यों होना चाहिए और कैसा होना चाहिए? That was very important. And yes, it is important. It is important. It certainly puts you into a platform. Of course, I'm saying that, I always say that, well, you can go. But since today there are so many academies, experts who are available there. In our times, 40 years ago also, I'm saying it was there. So why not to know about it? It actually facilitates your mission. कोई आपको पास करा के नहीं दो, वो तो आप ही ने करना है. But they will facilitate you. And let me put it here, because I have heard, of course, your academy's name is No Frills.
Yeah.
It's so wonderful. Not that too many people will keep such names. Okay, because
but we have known each other for long.
No, because actually it requires no frills in your life. You have to be so simple. You have to be so natural to yourself. Of course, you are there, Mani. I'm taking little liberty of explaining myself, but I feel that you have to be very natural, very truthful to yourself when you are attempting anything in your life. And of course, SSC is one thing. So when you are actually going through the course, one should really drop all the frills if you really want to be truthful to yourself. Success or not success is a different issue, but you will succeed. I think that is where I think that word sets in. That's what I was explaining also. कि उसके पीछे में क्या है बात और आराम से समझो उसको यार. And then you end up doing it. So it's beautiful that way. Yeah.
First time experience कैसा था जय?
Yeah, first time, yes. For everyone here, because I joined academy as a direct entry, and first term, and Col Nehru joined in the second term from NDA. The first term when we went there, Mani, I remember, I think I was a little lower in merit. So Prem Mohan Vats and all had joined academy. और हम भी इंतजार कर रहे थे कि हमारा भी नंबर कब आएगा नहीं आएगा. आ गया नंबर एंड वी जॉइन. हम गए वहां पे एंड मुझे याद है कि वो पूरा दिन भर कोई सामान सुमन कलेक्शन वगैरह कर पुरा के एंड अराउंड 3:30 4 o'clock we reached that Bhagat battalion, that you remember that playground area.
Yes, yes.
And उस टाइम में after the games that tea time was there. And उस टाइम all those people were sitting and हम लोग अपने बक्से वक्से लेके अपना पहुंचे थे वहां पे. Like civilians हम पहुंच रहे हैं, you know, and those guys who are already there, first, you know, guys who have already reported earlier, first termers, second termers, who are waiting for you कि आ जाओ बच्चों आप लोग अभी, and you know the third termers were there. Well, ये चीजें पता नहीं थी हमको. When we reached there, suddenly वो चाय का break था, मुझे ये याद है. और suddenly I see 2-3 guys faces. I did my graduation from Jalandhar. तो मेरे को 2-4 ना खालसा friends दिखे वहाँ पे. They were from my college. And I saw that, and in college I used to have very long hair like this. I used to be very good at impromptu shero shairi. I used to be MC. I was very good at studies. I used to be opening baller in the GND University. So वो सब चीजें थी, but वो धीरे धीरे बाल कटते कटते कटा के तो जाना ही था थोड़ा सा. फिर वहां पहुंचे तो उन्होंने पूछा, बोला यार ओ these guys say hey Jayant, come, very welcome आजा. तो हमने भी अपनी जफ्फी उप्पी डाली खूब. और उसने में एक था सांगा. You remember सांगा?
सांगा पिस्टल शूटिंग वाला.
Yes, General Saab, yes.
सांगा
was there. He was the so he was also there. He was senior in college. उसको हमने काफी जफ्फी भी डाली. उसने बोला बैठ भाई इधर चाय पी. किसी को बोला यार बिस्किट लेके आओ. तो हमने बिस्किट खाई, चाय पिया, मतलब लाइक गुड. You felt very happy. उसके बाद से उसने सांगा ने बोला कि यार कि मैं इधर किसी में क्वाड्रेंगल में यहाँ से जाएगा तो मैं इधर रहता हूँ, तो मिलना मेरे को आके. Good. So you know what happened? वो सब लोग चले गए, हमको भी अपना कमरा दिखा दिया गया. शाम को फॉल इन हुआ. अब उसके बाद से उन्होंने मेरी जो हजामत की कि अच्छा ओ यू नो किसके साथ तुम चाय पी रहे थे, किसको जप्पी डाल रहे थे. सांगा was the academy under officer, yeah.
Okay.
He says the number 1 cadet and you are trying to be pally with him. And you could imagine मनी की मेरे को रात भर अच्छा ट्रीटमेंट हुआ. और वो दूसरे अटवाल वगैरह थे. I don't know whether recollect or not. अटवाल, बिंद्रा. So they all were there and they were seniors in second term. तो मैंने उसके बाद से करीब मैंने कहा यार ये तो बड़ा करीब 6-7 दिन बाद गेम्स परेड में ना सांगा just came across. इसे यार तू आया नहीं. मैं कहा यार तू दूर ही रहना, वो ठीक रहेगा मेरे लिए. I don't want to come to you. And this second term was Atwal and Bindra and all. They used to joke. He say यार ऐसे ही होता है, don't. But why I'm telling this, when people ask me some question during my some conversation कि सर वो हम सिविल से आते हैं और वो दूसरे दिन वो फौजी जो है ना सडनली बिल्कुल डिफरेंट हो जाता है. तो ये प्रोसेस क्या होता है? Rather, I remember बड़ौदा में I was giving a talk to some HR association and this was the topic basically कि आप लोग ऐसी क्या घुट्टी खिलाते हैं कि कोई मान लो कि 18-19 साल का बच्चा आता है या जवान होता है, सिपाही होता है और ट्रेनिंग करने के बाद से वो सडनली उसकी माइंडसेट चेंज हो जाती है. आप लोग क्या खिलाते हो यार? तो मैंने कहा यार ये सवाल तो हमने भी कभी नहीं सोचा, या आप ही लोग सोच रहे हैं, हमने तो कभी सोचा ही नहीं. But since you have asked me, it forced me to think, and this is where the incidents what you asked me, I think that night baptized me. And how we got baptized, and you all know it better because आप लोग 3 साल पहले किया होगा इंडिया में. And you get baptized in the manner, this is my feeling कि आप जब सब लोग strangers थे वहां पे, everyone was stranger. But as a first timer, when you got together, when you are doing various things, rolling this and that, you became suddenly very good friends. You became good comrades before knowing each other also. You started knowing those guys as your batchmates and that team. नाम नूम बाद में पता चला हमारे को. Now that is, I think, was a very, very strong, making that thing together. और उसी में कुछ ने बोला चल कर ले यार कोई बात नहीं, days passes and you move on and you become so good friends. I think the cohesivity, the teamness, I think builds up overnight. And that's why I said ki it is not that there is a torture which is done and someone does anything wrong. Well, some sort of a thing, but it is, I think, I always felt that you have to give a shape. किसी न किसी, अब वो लोहार की दुकान पे जाता है, लोहा का वो देखो कैसे पीट पीट के करता है, तो यहाँ पे तो इतनी पिटाई भी नहीं होती यार, not that physical, but I'm just saying that you have to give a shape, and shape to what? Shape to the mind. You have to be tuned, and for the people, I remember, because हम लोग को याद है कोई next day में पूछेगा, yes, what's your name? तो अभी आदत खत्म नहीं हुई थी ना सिविल की, तो कभी बोलेंगे जयंत तिवारी. So some guy who was not so nasty senior, he'll say, is this the way you are supposed to tell? Or there's some guy who was reasonably better, so he'll give you a slap also. You didn't know what has happened. He say, what's your name? तो आदमी सीख जाता है. तो Jayant Tiwari, you may afford to forget, but you will not forget calling that I am a gentleman cadet. I'm GC Jayant Tiwari. So you actually, your identity changes in that manner. You start identifying as a soldier, as a team man, as a something together. I think that's a very, very important element when you go there, and it has been a very strong facet. I think that differentiates normal person when he joins army or normal person he remains anything. There is nothing different. We all are same breed, but I think the environment creates a change in the mind. I think that's all. And the first term was very good. I think it actually sharpened my physical fitness, being together with people. We used to really, after maybe 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, we used to go back to our cabin. We used to really laugh it out. We used to enjoy that. यार उसने आज ऐसा किया, उसने वो हुआ. And we used to really laugh it, because you remember Kesar?
हाँ, Kesar याद है.
He used to be my neighbor. Of course, he passed out later. And I just recently met him after 7-8 months before. He's working with LLT. And we spent a night together, and we really relished those days of first term. He said, yaar, yaad hai JK? And we really enjoyed, that entire youthfulness came into that. Even today one feels like that you are into that mode. So it is that your mindset gets created, and you become very strong.
यार सेकंड टर्म में जब आए और हम लोग एनडीए से ज्वाइन किए, तो व्हाट डिफरेंसेस यू नोटेड बिटवीन द द एनडीए गाइज एंड द डायरेक्ट एंट्रीज में? क्या डिफरेंस आपको लगा?
Yeah, Mani, I think it's one-to-one talk, of course, here. I think the other guys are listening, but it is a very pertinent question, and I'll be very truthful about making a statement. We are very matured over a period of time. ये जरूर था, because लोग जो डायरेक्ट एंट्रीज के सीनियर थे, तो they will always say, यार कि एनडीए वाले आ रहे हैं, 3 साल करके आ रहे हैं, you should be physically fit. They are 3 साल से वो लोग practice कर रहे हैं, so you should not lag behind, and all those issues and all. So I think that was a very strong feeling inside me also. Yes, I said, no, I was generally okay physically. Of course, not as good as Mani, what you are. These guys will not know. Not that I'm talking, and these guys who know it. So, but yes, I was quite okay. And a few of us, like Suresh Rana was there. You remember that?
अरे वो तो पैरा मेडल उसने जीता था.
Yeah, exactly. So ऐसे थे, so we were okay. So when they came up, that little effect was there, because our seniors had told कि भाई कि वो आ रहे हैं, especially only the direct entry seniors. Ex-NDA seniors वाला ऐसा नहीं यार, they were not bothered. मतलब कि you could see that language, body language. The ex-NDAs were there, they were comfortable. Maybe they were almost on the fag end of commissioning, whereas the direct entry is taking off to be commissioned after 1 year. You see, there's a difference into that. That 3 years you are there, now you are into that academy, and 6 महीने साल भर के बाद से when you are 3 साल निकल गया, अब ये तो ऐसे ही निकल जाएंगे. So of course, that phenomena of telling that ex-NDAs are coming, they have done this, at least to me, or majority of the people And these guys used to push you to be more physically stronger, mentally more robust. I think that was a good thing. And I think just a matter of little feeling. Otherwise, I didn't find any difference. We had the best of friends. We mixed up.
हाँ, we bonded very
Yeah.
well, यार. There was no
Yes,
this
yes.
thing. हाँ.
Yes, yes.
अच्छा यार, ये बताओ, बटालियन आपने गुरखा के लिए अप्लाई किया था, and how was your initial experience of joining the battalion?
Mani, actually, to be very precise, in my heart of heart, I wanted to join paras, to be very precise.
अच्छा, हम भी पैरा कमांडो वाले ही थे.
Yeah. I thought hota tha, maybe, but those vacancies used to be there, and that time I think one was moving through, and one didn't know the merit, all those issues. So when I got posted as an instructor, one could understand. But when I filled up my choice, I filled up my first choice as Garhwal Rifles. Infantry was, of course, the first choice, and in that Garhwal Rifles were there, and second was, I think, second was Gurkhas, and third was, I think, your regiment only, Punjab, I suppose.
अच्छा, पंजाब, okay.
Yeah.
KJS Oberoi ने motivate किया था आपको भी?
Maybe I think Gurkhas, so because I had the DS there.
अच्छा.
Yeah, this is a very important question, Mani. I think yes. Punjab, because I did my graduation, 12th, 11th, 12th. Jalandhar mein.
Okay.
So maybe that Punjab was there into that. And one had read that they are very great soldiers. Gurkhas, yes, one had heard. And my DS was there. Second, 4th GRK hote the wo. He's no more now. And he was the DS there. Very pleasant guy. But the point comes up that how come Garhwal Rifles? You see, my father was posted in Lansdowne. You see how the point actually creates in your mind. My father was posted in Lansdowne, the Garhwal Regimental Center area, and I was doing my graduation in Jalandhar. So whenever I used to go down on leave during vacations and all, I used to stay there. और हमारे घर में ना एक कुक होता था, चंदर सिंह नेगी, I still remember. And he was so good. I think my decision to opt for Garhwal Rifles was, of course, we could see those Gorkha hat, there's Garhwali hat. Those things were there. But I think Chandar Singh Negi's behavior had a lot of effect on me in deciding my choice of arms. It sounds very funny, but yes, it is truth. He was a cook. But his behavior code of conduct was so good. I said, if a guy from this belt is so good, I'm sure he has to be good. This regiment has to be good. Something like that. And that's what I opted for Garhwal Rifles and Gurkhas. And of course, I got Gurkhas. So I don't have anything.
वो यार foreign tenure के बारे में थोड़ा बताओ यार.
Yeah, I was in, after this, that Shaur Chakra wala jo incidents hua tha, uske baad se I got posted to MT2, G2 MT2.
Yeah.
And उसके पहले I think हमारे कोर्स में lot of guys had already gone abroad, बहुत सारे चले गए थे UN mission. हमारा नंबर नहीं आया था, and one was doing quite well. तो हम भी सोचते थे यार पता नहीं आएगा कि नहीं आएगा, and it was something like कि अब तो हो गया नंबर, and not at all in the mind. And I remember I was posted in Sena Bhavan और हम South Block में घूम के मैं आ रहा था, and I was there in front of the SD3. The office used to be dealing with that foreign mission and all. So I was moving through, and there was an officer, Major, and Major Korea was there, to be very precise, Gurkhaskar. And he said, "Sir, कहाँ घूम रहे हो आप?" मैं कहा यार बस ऐसी, I just come, I am getting back. He said, "Sir, what? आपका मंडे को इंटरव्यू है?" It was Friday. मैं कहा कौन सा इंटरव्यू? बोलता सर आपका यूएन मिशन का इंटरव्यू है, आप कहाँ घूम रहे हो इधर? डोंट टेल मी यू डोंट नो, आप तो बिल्कुल फ्री घूम रहे हो. पीपल आर गाइस आर प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर इट. I didn't know also. Somehow there was a mess up. Anyway, we came up and we of course appeared for the interview, and there's a good selection process. And then I got selected for the best mission. That time I think I was little higher in the selection grade. Or I got this thing, Iraq Kuwait, United Nations mission for Iraq and Kuwait mission. And that mission was basically that we were supposed to be on the border of Iraq and Kuwait. Some posts were onto the Kuwait side and some posts were onto the Iraq side. And Iraqis were little not so docile. Rather, no one wanted to be on the Iraq side for more than 3 months. 3 months was the minimum period you were supposed to be on a post. So anyone who was to be in Iraq side, after 3 months, they will ask for a change, and they were changed. I was posted onto a post which was 12 kilometers inside, I think 10 kilometers, 10 and 5, 15, 10 kilometers, bang onto the demilitarized zone, 10 kilometers beyond. And this was on the Basra highway, towards Basra highway leading to Baghdad, inside Iraq. So I stayed on that post for full tenure, 12 months. I was the only guy who stayed. And we had our own the same, some 2-3 times the guys, they came up, hooligans, they fired onto our post also. One of the times, what happened that day, after 3 months, it was purely an officers mission. We used to be 8 officers on the post, 8 different nationality officers. And they used to keep changing. And out of that, every 3 months, they themselves used to select one leader. So
Okay.
I was selected for every time I was selected unanimously as a leader.
Achha.
I don't know what, because so anyway, and leader was something like you had an extra responsibility, that's all. Otherwise, you are doing the same job, patrolling and vehicle cleaning and the post cleaning. We were all managing. Pardon?
Troops कौन से थे आपके?
No. There was no troops there. I was an observer, posted as an observer.
नहीं, observer तो थे आप, but troops कौन से थे वहाँ पर?
Okay, there in the Unicom, troops were the 1 battalion of Bangladesh Army was there.
Okay.
Yeah. But they were into Kuwait side where the headquarters were there.
अच्छा, उनसे इंटरेक्शन नहीं था आपका?
No. हमारी कोई direct interaction. We were on the post. It was all purely observers post.
Okay.
All posts were purely observers.
अच्छा, observers ही थे खाली बस.
सारे observers post थे. We used to do 3 hours of a vehicular patrolling. We had a area because there were a lot of mines which were thrown and a lot of bombardments and scenes were there. So we used to and Iraqis used to do what? Of course, when we used to write India here, I think they were a little comfortable with Indians, and other guys were a little reasonably scared not to be there. So we were there, and one of the occasions, our post was fired upon. Sham ki baat hai, and we were sitting there, and suddenly I think they were going on the road, and they fired onto our post. And suddenly I took a call. He said, kahan hai? And the bullets had hit the bunkers. Came inside. TV shivi pe lag gaya, idhar ho gaya. Kafi kuch fire kiya unhone. So, हमको realize हुआ कि एक बंदा था, and we had that time Indonesians were there, Thai were there, Malaysian was there, Chinese were there with me. Later on, some Pakistani officer was also there. So anyway, so we realized that one guy was not there. तो कोई लोग कहीं घुस गए थे, कोई कहीं घुस गए थे, कोई किधर हो गया, तो फायरिंग पूरी हुई. One guy was injured. He was taking a shower in the bathroom. और bathroom में उसके ना back of the thigh he had got a bullet. So and then उसको खुद से अब कोई जाता नहीं था. नेहरू मनु naturally सबको डर होता है. So anyway, I was post commander and we were already baptized. हमने कहा नहीं है, खोजो उसको कहाँ है. And then we said, and वो that guy ना डर के मारे चिल्ला भी नहीं रहा था. तो डर की जो
He was from which nation?
He was, I think, from Korea. South Korea. Yeah, I think so. So and this guy was not even loudly crying also in pain. You see, every moment is such great learning in life. Because he was little afraid कि अगर मेरी आवाज जाए और कहीं पता नहीं, never know कि वो बाहर है कि अंदर है. He didn't know कि फायर कहाँ से हुआ है. और कोई आके बोलेगा ये अच्छे ये आवाज कर रहा है, इसी को मारो पहले.
Correct.
See, the fear has it's a wonderful phenomenon, of course. So anyway, so उसको हमने उठाया. अब हमने जब headquarters were around, I was to drive 10 kilometers to the border, and from border headquarters were 30 kilometers on the highway. So when I told them, so there was a lot of panic in the UN headquarters, and then they said, yeah, that is the time Bangladesh battalion got activated. They came up, we say we are coming, you don't move from there, we will come up there. अब वो लोग वो 30 किलोमीटर चल के border पे आए, और बांग्लादेश बटालियन की APCs वगैरह के साथ में आए लोग, और आने के बाद से they were there. अभी ये इंतजार करते करते यार, ये ऑब्जर्वर जो था नेचुरली ही वाज इन पेन यार, बुलेट लगी थी थाई में, और वहां पे उन लोगों का था कि वी आर कमिंग, डोंट मूव, दे वर रीजनेबली स्केर्ड एक्चुअली, और कॉशियस ऑल्सो। तो मैंने कहा छोड़ो यार, कोई नहीं। हमने अपनी वहां पे टोयोटा लैंड क्रूजर होती थी सबकी, हमने गाड़ी में उठाया, UN का झंडा लगा होता था, लाइट जलाई ऊपर, शॉर्ट्स में और टी-शर्ट में थे वहां पे हम, और उसको मैंने गाड़ी में डाला। मैं कहा चल तू बैठ इधर, गाड़ी में डाला, एंड आई ड्रोव इन द नाइट। इट वाज मे बी आई थिंक 9:30 10 o'clock or something like that, and I drove. They said ki we are coming. I did not meet them. So when I reached the border of Kuwait and Iraq, the other side, they all were, force commander was there, sector commander was there, in the Bangladesh battalion was there, and they saw me coming. And force commander, I met him for the first time, and he said, why did you come up? You are not feeling afraid? If they would have ambushed you. So anyway, हमने कहा सर अभी इसकी इतनी तकलीफ थी, अभी तो ऐसा क्या करना है अभी, we came up anyway. Of course I handed over, and then a team came up with me and they dropped me back direction साथ में, and then they waited. Later on people are asking me कि sir, were you not feeling afraid? I said question is not afraid यार, ये तो हमारे दिमाग में बात नहीं आई थी यार। और
बताना है आपने,
और हम लोग ने यार, I think I said यार, we are too much baptized, हमारे को अगर ये काम, ये तो bare minimum requirement है हमारी यार, it is how it is. So they were actually thinking, and the Indians were rated reasonably very high in the code of conduct in all these issues. And UN mission was a very good learning for me, platform for me. One more incident was there, there was a very senior dignitary was slotted to visit that UN headquarters of UNICOM. And this was first time that civilian dignitary was visiting. Because of that, they had a rift basically with the UN Iraqis. And when they were visiting there, so they said that they were to select a post where they wanted to get him conducted. So UN headquarters में करने के बाद से they wanted to bring him to one post where, so I think they would have thought that it's better where an Indian post commander is there, because of the maybe that conduciveness or something like that. I think I can make out that way. So they brought him to my post. Now he was supposed to come at 2:30, and I had, as a post commander, a duty of that day post cleaning. तो मैं एक्चुअली जिस दिन पोस्ट क्लीनिंग होती थी उस दिन वो 3 to 6 मॉर्निंग में पेट्रोलिंग की ड्यूटी होती थी। तो आप जब आते हो ना तो यू आर एक्चुअली आके फिर 2-3 घंटा सोते हो। तो मैंने कहा चलो यार 2-3 घंटा रेस्ट करूंगा, उसके बाद से उठ के अपना पोस्ट को क्लीन भी करेंगे, एंड देन यू मेक योर ओन प्रेजेंटेशन, थोड़ी ब्रीफिंग और करनी होती है। एनीवे suddenly realized, they said no, they are coming at 11 o'clock. चलो कोई नहीं। तो I got up, came out of my cabin. तो I was shaving. अभी शेव कर ही रहा था बाथरूम में। They said कि अरे नहीं यार, message has come that they have started from headquarters. तो what nonsense यार, 9:30 बजे करीब दिन में बात थी। एनी हमने खटाखट शेव किया, बस यूनिफॉर्म वगैरह डाला, एंड हल्ला उल्ला किया कि यार इसको ये कराओ उसको कराओ। It was all chaotic, to be very precise, money. And हो गया। And by the time I could place everything in order, तब तक they were almost on the gate. We entered. I'm just saying that how I was at the confusion highest point in my mind. They came in, and and it was supposed to be one of the path breaking visits. They thought that probably their relation with UN headquarters will change. They came up, उनको लेके हम अंदर आए, और अंदर आके and I started my briefing. So छोटा सा रूम था, and there were force commander, sector commander, this diplomat was there, there were 2-3 secretaries were there with him, there were some other officers, there was some I remember there was a colonel from Russian army, he was posted at Baghdad, and और काफी कुछ लगा, करीब 30-40 महकमा थे, and हमारे अपने 8-7-8 जो हमारे पोस्ट वाले ऑफिसर्स थे वो थे। अभी when I stood there, I was still trying to compose myself, keep myself calm, and I started my talk. That area was known as Safwan, which was every house was bombarded. No house had roof. In the times of war, every house was bombarded. And I was telling, I said, ki, sir, yahan pe, the area is such beautiful. Iraqis are so wonderful people. And in the 55 degree of temperature also, that Safwan had a characteristic. In the times of tomatoes, they used to grow so much of tomatoes कि हर एक महीने तक हर रोज almost 100 trucks used to be loaded. Every day 100 trucks used to be loaded of tomatoes. लेकिन आपको जमीन में उस रेगिस्तान में कुछ नजर नहीं आता था. And the women folk used to work. So I started by, sir, I'm blessed to be in this particular domain. They are such, hardworking people. And उसी बीच में फिर मैंने उनसे पूछा, sir, would you like to have tea and coffee? No, this is the issue. So I had a dedicated people. So one guy, they I think asked for the tea. तो सेट था कि चाय बना के लाएंगे और एक प्लेट में बिस्किट ले आते थे. That was the standard. So वो चाय बना के लाया और एक था, one guy was एक चाइनीज था और एक सिंगापुरियन, एक टैन एक फैन. This is how the names were there. तो चाइनीज brought in the tea and दिखा दिया, उसके साथ में बॉल था शुगर का. They took everyone और चले गए वो लोग बिस्किट दिखा के. Then they were serving somewhere else and I was talking. Suddenly I realized that the ambassador who had come, he sipped and he talks to some secretary. Then he also sips and he talks to another guy. And in a small room, I was watching, मैं कहा क्या कुछ गड़बड़ तो नहीं हो गया कुछ? And it is supposed to be a very good meeting today. तब तक force commander also, he had a sip and then he told something sector commander. तब तक sector commander पी रहा है. Now, a little difficult situation. So I stopped I said, sir, I asked the ambassador. I said, sir, I hope the tea is fine. And you know what ambassador says? Yes, tea is perfectly fine. It is only that, in place of sugar, the observer had given me salt. उसने ना वो salt का बाउल जो है ना सर्व कर दिया सबको. You can imagine इतना pressure था. And my sector commander and the force commander of Finland. Those guys are a very high class of English people.
Correct.
And pardon me if they are listening somewhere. They were very pleasantly sarcastic. They'll not spare you.
Naturally.
And मैंने कहा यार bloody hell, ये क्या यार, मतलब कि इतना hype था ये visit और यहाँ पे आपने उसको चीनी के बदले में नमक पिला दिया. मैंने कहा यार force commander was very, he was good man. I'll not call him nasty. So अभी promptly, I don't know. इसकी कोई script तो थी नहीं. I say, oh sir, I'm extremely sorry. मैंने बोला Tan, come here. अब Tan तो दे रहा था उसको, तब जब Tan को बुलाया, he said, wait, I'm coming. I said, no, come here, leave it. So he came up ऐसे करता हुआ, तो मैंने कहा यार, you have served salt in place of sugar. Tan का तो ऐसा लगा कि उसकी धरती फट गई नीचे, कि force commander उसको खा जाना है उसको. Anyway, I said, don't worry, Tan, just replace these cups and bring another fresh, okay, with sugar. Don't worry, replace these cups. अभी टैन बेचारा खड़ा ऐसे कि कैसे आगे जाऊं. मैंने कहा कम डोंट वरी, लेके चला गया, वो हो गया. अभी जब तक दूसरी चाय आए, एक तो मैं वैसे ही कंफ्यूज स्टेट में था. देन आई वाज नॉर्मलाइजिंग इट बाय दैट टोमेटो बिजनेस एंड गुड पीपल, दिस पीपल. तब तक ये क्योस हो गया. एंड आई टोल्ड देम, सो बाय द टाइम दिस गाय केम अप, I think somewhere the mind came up and I started talking. I said, sir, apologies for this. But I think I must tell you that, I think it was not by intent.
Naturally.
Okay. And money, this is a great story. When I told him, sir, this was not by intent, certainly. But I said, sir, there was a divine intent in that. There was not personal intent. But there was a divine intervention in this. And he said, ambassador said, divine intervention? What is that? I said, sir, because divine intervention was such that, in our northeastern states, when we go and have tea, it is salted tea. हम उसको Chinese tea बुलाया करते थे. You will agree with me, Mani.
हाँ
नॉर्थ ईस्ट में चाइनीज टी बनाते थे।
हाँ
तो मैंने कहा कि वो वाली चाय जो है ना, वो ट्राइबल्स उन्हीं को पिलाते थे जो आपके बहुत करीब महसूस होता था, और किसी को चाय नहीं देते थे। मैंने कहा दिस इज अ फिनोमेना, आई एम नॉट टेलिंग, इट्स अ ट्रूथफुल फिनोमेना, एंड यू सी इज अ ब्यूटी। This tea was served by this Chinese, and he had probably never thought to serve you salt, but I think the divine intervention is there, that his core of heart, the best tea he must serve is the salted tea. I think that's how it actually got culminated. So they started laughing, and all. As वो चाय शाय आई, पी के चले गया, हमारा टॉक शॉक खत्म हो गया। तो मैंने कहा सर एनीथिंग, कुछ सवाल जवाब हुए, उसके बाद से ही सेज कि मेजर आई वांटेड टू टेल यू वन थिंग। He said, why don't you leave Indian Army and join diplomatic issues? So I said, sir, anyway, so this guy, ambassador, had done four tenures in India.
Okay.
And उसके बाद से we are supposed to show him one cabin. This is how we live. तो वो जनरल होता था कि यार कि तू अपना, मैं क्यों अपना कमरा ठीक करूं, या तू अपना दिखा ले टाइप। इट हैपेंस अक्रॉस द ग्लोब, ओके, इट इज नॉट, ये हर जगह पे वो बचपना होता है, एंड आई थिंक इट इज गुड। तो आई एज पोस्ट कमांडर, मैंने अपना कैबिन ठीक करके रखा था, तो आई टुक हिम इनसाइड, एंड व्हेन आई टुक हिम इनसाइड ही लॉक्ड द डोर बिहाइंड। तो इनसाइड माय कैबिन ओनली ही एंड मी स्टूड फॉर 5 मिनट्स, और वो एकदम फर्राटेदार हिंदी में बात कर रहे थे।
अच्छा।
तब उन्होंने बताया कि मैंने 4 टेन्योर किए हैं दिल्ली में।
ओके।
हाँ, पूरी दिल्ली और पूरी इंडिया में घूमता हूँ मैं।
ओके।
एंड ही स्पोक ऑफ कोर्स वेरियस थिंग कि क्या हाल चाल है, कैसे हो आप लोग, कैसे हो, ये है वो है, एंड सर्टेन इश्यूज हाउ इट इज देयर एंड ऑल, एंड वी केम आउट, एंड ऑफ कोर्स वी, सो इट वाज अ वंडरफुल exposure there. And why force commander I mentioned Nehru, I'll take this a little bit. That force commander had taken out a document where he had mentioned that anyone who is doing his work to the desired level, he will be rated average. It was a document.
Okay.
जितनी आपसे एक्सपेक्टेशन है, आप उतना काम कर रहे हैं, तो यू विल बी रेटेड एवरेज।
Okay.
उसके नीचे बिलो एवरेज या लो एवरेज भी ग्रेडिंग थी उसके, एंड ही हैड क्वांटिफाइड, इफ यू डोंट डू दिस मच then you will be rated below average, if you don't do this much, low average, and after that he goes for other grades. So average, below average, low average, and then he goes to define high average, that if you do like this, then high average, and it was a sole prerogative of the sector commander to rate it. उसके ऊपर में above average था, that if force sector commander wants, then he must intimate and take permission of the force commander, then he can rate any NO as above average. As far as the outstanding goes, Vani, he said that no one will be recommended for rating outstanding if and only if the force commander feels, he will tell the sector commander to rate so and so outstanding. And Mani, I was rated outstanding. I was one of the NCOs.
तभी तो तेरे को डिप्लोमेट ले रहे थे वो।
But you know what had happened? उस दिन जब वो लोग विजिट के बाद से गए, there was suddenly a call from the sector commander.
Okay.
To come for the conference. तो
अच्छा।
हमने कहा यार आज जो है ना, इसने सेक्टर कमांडर ने बहुत हमारी बत्ती बजानी है इसने। So because ये था, ये सब गदर हो गया था। So we went there. हम लोग जब गए तो बैठे वहाँ पे, and sector commander sitting, and next to that I was sitting, and ऐसे लोग बैठे हुए थे। Almost I think 15-20 odd also so there, different nationality. So when the moment sector commander came, I apologized to him. I said, sir, I'm extremely sorry for that incident which took place. It was, I think you must see in that light. Because मैंने कहा कि यार ये बहुत काम गड़बड़ हो गए थे। Because force commander ने personally बोला था कि ध्यान करो, इतना ध्यान करना कि ये सब उल्टा हो गया। So I told him, I said, sir, I'm sure that you have called for the conference today. Otherwise, there was no need for calling. He was a lieutenant colonel. He said, no, don't worry, wait, hold on. I said, sir, it's not good, because I was feeling a little bad, to be very precise, Mani. I was feeling very bad कि मैंने कहा ये ना उल्टा सीधा बोलेगा, we come up with so much hype and they serve like this and all. मेरे दिमाग में ये था. So I apologized to him, everyone sitting, my apology. I said, this is what it happened. He said, no, don't worry, hold on. There is a message from force commander has also come. मैंने कहा यार इस force commander ने, because he was very straightforward man type. He had not spared anyone. मैंने कहा यार चलो कोई नहीं. Anyway, he told his G2 to bring that mail. So mail लेके आया, and there were 2 lines of mail. And it was from personal from force commander. And he had said that please call the conference and appreciate the conduct of November 4 and the post commander especially, personally for myself. He said it was a very well managed. I couldn't believe it. I said, chalo theek hai, jaisa bhi tha. So that is how it is. I think everything has its own lesson. मैं कभी सोचता हूँ कि यार ये कहाँ से आया. And when I was talking about the Chinese tea, Russian colonel, he also butted in. He says, sir, what Major is saying is correct. This is how it happens. So it is all good. So that is how it was. So it was a good mission.
Very, very interesting story. Unit की command की थोड़ी बता यार जैन.
Yeah, I was in MS branch, and from there, when we got approved, I was command surplus from my regiment from GR. So I went to command Assam Rifles. And I commanded in Tripura for 3.5 years. So it is that, we all know it. We all love to, be in our own unit and command where you have been there. And so that feeling was there. But I also knew the policy constraint because I was there in those offices. Ki nahi, baat nahi banegi, you have to go out. And a lot of seniors suggested, so I went out. When we went out, Assam Rifles. Money, a lot of guys here will not be knowing as to what is the difference. We used to call Aram Rifles, isn't it? Aram Rifle. Now, here
but
was
some of them can be very challenging also.
Hey, Money, why I'm making this mention publicly.
Yeah.
So when I went there, first time when I spoke to my troops, Jawan, when I addressed them, it was a little different. And I think that was my style, and that thing I think core with where we started. That's where I wanted to link that. When I went there, I made a mention to, I commanded 22 Assam Rifles in Tripura. And I told them that I have come here and I am the commanding officer, commandant of 22 Assam Rifles. I have been vested with this responsibility to be the commandant of the battalion. It is a role which has been given to me. And there's no two way about it. I have to live by it 100%. There's no doubt about it. Okay? Forget about my regiment, this regiment, that regiment. This my doing well. I have come here to perform a role. And this is what my role is. Yesterday I was posted into that appointment. Today I am posted in this appointment. Second thing which I mentioned, that let me also tell you all that till yesterday, I was the same man who used to call colloquially, normal आराम से मस्ती में बात करते हुए, कि यार ये आराम राइफल है. I was one person who used to talk like this. Today I'm commanding, I'm there with you all. But not to myself. But I want to tell you that I used to talk, but in my heart today I know that I am with you all and I am being given the responsibility to perform that task. And I'm going to be with you and with you and with you, nowhere else. And for 3.5 years, I never went back to my battalion's raising day. I remained there. I instituted honor code. Money. What we had in IMA and, people talk. So when we used to, some guys were to be punished, they had done some offense. I said, let me see that. After all, the process of offense and this thing is to basically corrective. And anyone can do any offense. It is a very different style. But see, your commanding officer is a big man. I used to go and deliberate that offense into the darbar. कि ऐसा है, और मैं जब करता हूं ना तो मैं रात भर सोचता हूं इस बात को कि कभी भी मैं किसी बायस से तो कभी जजमेंट नहीं दूं. No, I am not there to give any biases, any judgment. It is purely onto that. What he was not, it is only there. And that is where that non-awareness or judgment or without judgment or, just being into the awareness mode, it was existing. And when we discussed, so what I used to do, I used to read out the offense. बोलता था भाई हमारे पास जो इनपुट आई है ऐसा हुआ है. यूनिट में सबको पता होता था कि ऐसा हुआ है, कौन क्या है कह दिए, वो हमसे ज्यादा अच्छे जानते हैं. So I used to write कि after analyzing everything, I will give this reward, award, punishment, whatever it is. I used to write on a slip and put it in a box, commanding officer box. I said, now you all deliberate. And I had a very open darbar system, exceptionally open darbar. I used to provoke my jawans to question me, commanding officer. It is not money. It is not the framework of the army generally. But I used to provoke them that why will you not ask me? और वो सब लोग लिख के जब डालते थे उसके बाद से we used to carry out analysis. 4 times I did it. Every time my punishment given was the lowest. And I followed it. I am saying that whenever you are in the power of authority, position of authority, where you are powerful, I think that's the time you have a very high responsibility. You have to shake yourself, and you have to realize that it is not that because you have the power you must do. That power is to be used for the right direction. And I corrected people. I recollected in the sense that there used to be a lot of alcoholic cases used to be there. And one of the days, my RMO, regimental medical officer, he was lieutenant colonel. He came up to me and he said, "Sir, ये 5 बंदे जो हैं, ये ठीक नहीं हो रहे. इनका FMS 10 भरना पड़ेगा." FMS 10 for others, that we sign it and send it to specialists for their treatment.
Yeah, psychiatric उसके लिए.
तो मैंने कहा कि यार ठीक है, that's okay. You feel, because the doctor was there in the unit for last 2 years. He said, "Sir, I know these guys." And Subdar Major was there. So he said, हाँ सब ये इनको भेजना पड़ेगा, ये लोग ठीक नहीं है. मैं कहा कोई बात, आप लोगों का काम हो गया ना, responsibility is mine. And money, I called those 5 guys into my office. And they were still reeking of liquor. रात रोज को पिया होगा उन्होंने, लेकिन वो ठीक थे. मैंने उनको पूछा one by one. And I asked them कि भाई कि आप बताओ मेरे को. मैंने कहा बच्चों ये बताओ तुम लोग यार कि ठीक है पिया है तुम लोगों ने, जो भी है, फौज ने तुम लोग देना शुरू किया है, it has happened, but do you all want to get okay or not? I want one answer, simple. सोच के बोलना. And they were I was very open in my, and they only said कि साहब वो बहुत कोशिश करते हैं अभी रुकने के लिए. वो शाम को होती है 6 बज जाते हैं, 7 बज जाते हैं, तो कभी कभार किसी दिन वो होता है थोड़ा 1 लगाते हैं, उसके बाद से then we are get out. ये होता है सब. अदर हम छोड़ना चाहते हैं. मैं कहा पक्का सोच लो. मैं कहा ये आप कमिटमेंट कर रहे हो मेरे साथ में, कमांडिंग ऑफिसर साहब. And all those 5 guys they said कि साहब हम छोड़ना चाहते हैं सच. And I used to take the word of that जवान. तो I called पंडित जी, यूनिट का जो RTJC है. And money, when I called him, RMO was standing, Subdar Major was standing, these 5 guys were standing, reeking of some liquor. और पंडित जी को बुलाया. पंडित जी आए, नमस्कार साहब. तो मैं कहा साहब ये इन 5 को जानते हैं आप लोग? इन्होंने साहब जानते हैं. मैंने कहा थोड़ा बताइए इनके बारे में. साहब ये हैं, ये शराबी हैं, ये ऐसे हैं वैसे, इनको तो घर भेज देना चाहिए, ये करना चाहिए, वो करना चाहिए. कहा ओके ठीक है. सब लोगों ने सुबदार मेजर को बोला साहब आप बताइए. उन्होंने बोला साहब इनको तो जाने दो.
सेम स्टोरी.
ओके. मैंने कहा अभी मेरी बात सुनो. मैं कहा पंडित जी हमारा धर्म है इनको ठीक करना भी, बिकॉज ये ठीक होना चाहते हैं बच्चे. तो मेरा चैलेंज तो ठीक होना ना. पनिशमेंट तो मैं ऐसे दे दूं और ऐसे भेज दूं, लेकिन ठीक करना है इनको. तो मैं कहा पंडित जी अभी आप अभी से लेके ये आपके अंडर कमांड जा रहे हैं. ये 5 बच्चे जो हैं लड़के सिपाही, ये आपके अंडर कमांड जा रहे हैं. मतलब पंडित जी के साथ में जाएंगे. कहता है साहब राम राम ये तो शराबी हैं, मंदिर में कैसे जाएंगे? मैं कहा साहब मेरी बात समझो, सुनो मेरी बात. आपसे जवाब नहीं पूछा मैंने. तो ना चुप हो गया. मैं कहा साहब ऐसा है कि इनको ठीक करना है और 1 महीने बाद अगर ये ठीक नहीं हुए तो आप अपना पेपर पुटअप कर देना, घर चले जाना. ठीक है बस. नहीं तो आपका कोई मतलब नहीं मुझे यार, मुझे भजन नहीं करना है यहाँ पे. तो 1 महीने आपके साथ रहेंगे. 1 महीने बाद 30वें दिन पे अगर ये ठीक नहीं हुए ना तो आप अपना पेपर पुटअप करना, घर जाना, ये रिकॉर्ड कर लेना. लेकिन मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ करना कैसे. वो बच्चे भी खड़े थे वहां पे. मैंने कहा साहब दिन में जब 5 बार जो नमाज पढ़ी जाती है ना, इस तरह 5 बार कीर्तन करेंगे. और मंदिर नीचे होता था, मेरा घर ऊपर होता था. और मैं कहा मैं बहुत रिलीजियस आदमी हूँ, मैं कहा 5 बार जो है ना माइक जो है ना जो लगा के मेरे घर की तरफ लगा के रखो, और रात भर में 24 घंटे ये गाना चाहे ना कि सीओ साहब का कान फट जाए, मेरे को फटने दो, कोई बात नहीं, लेकिन ये 5 बार ना मैंने कहा तुम सब 5 बार गाओगे ये लोग, इनसे मैंने कहा 1-1 घंटे का इनका क्लास लो, ये 5 बार ये अपना भजन गाएंगे। मनी 15 days and they all got reformed. उसके बाद से मैं कभी पोस्ट पे जाते थे वो, तो कभी उससे मजाक में बोलता था पोस्ट पे, कभी वो कोई एक मिल गया भाई हाँ थोड़ा एक हैव अ ड्रिंक विद मी, कहता नहीं सर प्लीज। मैं कहा यार इतना अच्छा थोड़ी बनने को तुमको बोला था, but they are transformed. I'm just saying that it's a command is beautiful demand, and that camaraderie. There was a guy who died of alcohol. He had developed severe. He was a Haldar, Nepalese, Om Bahadur Pun, and my wife was also there. I remember, and he died in Agartala, and his family was there in Tripura. I felt very bad. I took my wife to that family quarters. उनको मिला वाला कंसोलेंस कर दे के वापस आया। वापस आया तो आई हैड एक्चुअली डेवलप्ड अ कोड कि अगर इस टाइप का सायरन बजाया जाएगा, इसका मतलब कमांडिंग ऑफिसर साहब थोड़ा दिमाग उनका हिला हुआ है, वो थोड़ा सा आप सब लोगों से बात करना चाहते हैं, तो ये सायरन होगा तो आप चाहे जिसमें निक्कर में हो बनियान में हो, आप लोग सीधे हवाई चप्पल में सीधे इस बैरक में आ जाना, और 15 मिनट जब होगा तो उस टाइम में दूसरा सायरन बजेगा और सीओ साहब एंटर करेंगे एंड ही विल स्पीक व्हाटएवर ही वांटेड। ये मैंने एक अपना स्टाइल बनाया था, यू नो, इट इज स्टाइल विच कैरीज। तो मैंने आया और मेरी वाइफ वहीं थी, मैंने वो सायरन मैं सुधार मुझे बोला, मैं साहब वो सायरन बजाओ, आई वांट टू स्पीक टू पीपल। तो आया, ही वाज अ गोरखा गाई, उसने सायरन बजाया, 15 मिनट बाद में पहुंचा। जब मैं पहुंचा वहां पे तो मैंने कहा कि आप लोगों को पता होगा कि हवलदार ओम बहादुर पुन की डेथ हो गई है, तो सब लोग नेचुरली पीपल फील मोरोस, एंड मैंने कहा कि यार एक बात मैं बताने के लिए, मैं कॉन्डोलेंस के लिए नहीं बुलाया, प्लीज बी केयरफुल, दिस इज नॉट अ कॉन्डोलेंस मीटिंग। मैंने आपको इसलिए बुलाया है कि मैं तो इस आप लोगों को समझा रहा हूँ, बुझा रहा हूँ कि यार क्यों पी रहे हो ऐसे आप, कुछ लोग हैं, नॉट दैट एवरीवन, बट ही हैज डाइड टुडे, हु विल लुक आफ्टर हिज फैमिली टुमारो। एंड आई सेड कि इवन इफ आई वांट और यू वांट, हाउ मच यू विल केयर फॉर इट। कल सवेरे वो रोड पे होगी बस पकड़ के, कल नहीं 2-3 बाद में, और चली आएगी, हु विल केयर। एंड आई सेड कि आई फील टोटली बैड फॉर दिस। I said here, now today I am wanting to give an order. And the order is that if a person wants to die drinking of liquor in 6 months, I want him to die in 3 months. और बंदा जो 1 महीने में शराब पी के मरने के काबिल है, उसको मैं चाहता हूँ वो 15 दिन मर जाए, जो 2 दिन में मरना चाहता है वो 1 दिन में मर जाए शराब पी के, और जो 1 दिन में मरना चाहता है, I want him to die now after drinking. And I want to supply liquor to that extent. That please die as fast as possible so that हम लोग का काम अपना चले, बाकी आप लोगों के झंझट में हम ना पड़े। And I told that recorded that there will be no restriction on liquor. Let people drink as much as they possible. जितनी वो शराब लेके जाना चाहते ले जाने, बट मेरा एक ही मिशन है कि जिसको मरना है तो जल्दी मरे, ताकि मैं अपने काम में बाधा ना आए। मैं कहा समझ गए, दिस इज वेयर इट इज, एंड दिस मैं कहा ये बोलने के लिए नहीं है एसएम साहब, टू आईसी साहब, ये होना है ये। एंड मनी नेक्स्ट मंथ से लिकर, अगर वो 100% था, लिकर सेल ड्रॉप टू 30%, लिकर सेल ओनली ड्रॉप टू 30%। I'm just saying it is that you have to be very natural, feel responsible, you are answerable, you are accountable. I am accountable to my entire command, and that's where I made a mention that I have to they used to get that kapade milte jisko सिलाते थे, and there used to be teller outside, he used to charge a lot of money, और वो फिर भी जवान अपना सिला के आते थे कपड़ा। तो एक दरबार में पूछा कि आपने मुझसे सवाल क्यों नहीं किया कभी कमांडिंग ऑफिसर कि साहब आपने मुझे सिला यूनिफॉर्म देना है, हम बाहर क्यों सिलाने जाए भाई, मैं अपना सिविल का क्यों सिलाऊं। मैं ये सवाल क्यों नहीं पूछा आप लोगों से, आपने सवाल पूछा था। So I used to actually provoke these guys that ask, because I am here to meet with these challenges. मैं ठीक है, अपनी privileges हैं, अपनी luxuries हैं, but this is where it is. So it is a fun and it was a wonderful trip. I think it was one of my best tenures where I could do it. And command of an Assam rifle is, I think, double command, where you're commanding families, उनकी पूरी कॉलोनी को मैंने रीलोकेट करा दी थी। पूरी कॉलोनी जहां रहते थे उसको ना रेज करा दिया था और रीलोकेट कराया था। तो आई टू गो एंड सिट विद देम जहां वो अपनी झोपड़ियां बना रहे होते थे। So it is a wonderful belongingness. We all have our own stories, of course. So it is a wonderful command, and you live with that legacy, connections.
Yeah. Very democratic style of leadership.
Yeah.
Very humane also. Very
yes.
Very humane. Yes. And you see, the thing is that yeah, Jawans are able to see through you, as you said in your first Gurkha
Oh, yes.
And they know you. You know, words carry not more than 25-30% meaning. What you actually are, that gets known very well.
बिल्कुल
उसका इम्पैक्ट पूरा रहता ही है। थोड़ा यार जयंत, थोड़ा एनसीसी के बारे में थोड़ा बताइए यार।
Okay, yeah. You see, after my Tripura, you have so nicely sequenced it. Though I have not supplied you with any material, these guys might be thinking that. But NCC, I got posted from Tripura and to Bombay, NCC, Maharashtra. And it's a different domain, of course. So, you know, I also take my life in that manner कि कैसे शुरुआत हुई जिंदगी। आप गोरखा राइफल्स में गए, you got posted here, you did this, you went to different environments. And when you are, you know, in MS branch, then you are wanting to be in your own battalion, you don't get your regiment, you go and command Assam Rifle, different entity, totally. From there, I got to get posted to NCC. So, a lot of people will think, yaar, kya hai? I don't know how it is. But I took it that I think it's a great challenge. Only one mission was there, that I have to perform wherever I go. It is everyone's role. And then I realized that NCC was a most wonderful. My most satisfying tenure in my career was with NCC. And especially with Maharashtra, they used to be winning the banners. And they were so devoted children. North में, Mani, I must tell you, नॉर्थ में हमारे को, नॉर्थ मीन्स कि मैं मध्य प्रदेश अपवर्ड्स की बात कर रहा हूँ, अगर वहां से कोई बच्चा अगर जाके अपने पेरेंट्स को बोले कि मुझे एनसीसी ज्वाइन करना है, तो माँ बाप कभी एटलीस्ट पहले बोला करते थे यार कि पढ़ाई बुढ़ी करो, क्या एनसीसी ड्रामा कर रहे हो थे, नो दे विल टॉक लाइक दिस. बट आई हैव सीन इन द सदर्न स्टेट्स, एटलीस्ट इन महाराष्ट्र, आई हैव सीन दैट पेरेंट्स विल कम कि हम अपने बच्चे को एक साथ ड्रॉप कराना चाहते हैं, बट आप एनसीसी इसको ऐसा कराओ.
ओके,
कितनी सोच में डिफरेंस है. देयर लेवल ऑफ एंगेजमेंट इज सो हाई. एंड दैट्स व्हाट आई सेड कि वो जो बच्चे जो करते थे ना, इतना जोश कि अगर आपका कदम थोड़ा एक आध ढीला पड़ गया हो ना, वो एकदम टाइट हो जाता. तो आई टू से कि मेरी जो इंस्पिरेशन जो इतने साल में कुछ कम भी कहीं हुई होगी, तो आई टू से कि यार ये कैडेट्स तुम लोगों की वजह से मैं आई एम फील इंस्पायर्ड. ओके, that is the level. I'll give you one small example. Of course, I trained Maharashtra team 2 years. Both years they won at the national level. At same Delhi, 28 January, they got the banner. Offhand, I remember, like, मेरे को एक example याद आ रहा है. You know, वो लोग मावलांकर शूटिंग होती थी वहाँ पे. These cadets, they might be knowing, मावलांकर शूटिंग के लिए जाते थे. तो जब आ रहे थे तो some girls, I think वो girls की मावलांकर शूटिंग थी, and सीनियर विंग की गर्ल्स थी, जूनियर विंग की गर्ल्स थी. तो सब आए वहां पे, एंड द ग्रुप, आई वाज ग्रुप कमांडर दैट टाइम, कर्नल यूज्ड टू बी ग्रुप कमांडर, नाउ ब्रिगेडियर्स आर देयर. तो उस टाइम पे उनका मैंने इंटरव्यू किया. तो द गर्ल्स हु वर देयर इन दिस जूनियर विंग, मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द गर्ल्स आर ओके. उनसे पूछा आप कहाँ के रहने वाले हो, क्या है, पेरेंट्स क्या करते हैं. देयर वाज वन गर्ल हु वाज द टॉलेस्ट, वेरी वेल बिल्ट, एंड शी सेज कि सर माय फादर इज he doesn't work. तो बड़ा नॉर्मल सा बोला. तो हमको सुन के बड़ा अजीब लगा यार कि फादर डजंट वर्क. मतलब हमारे नॉर्थ इंडिया में तो ऐसा सोचते हैं यार कि फादर ही काम करते हैं. He says, and I said okay. He said कि my and mother. He says sir, mother works. I said what does she do? He says sir कि वो local trains में she does कुछ बेचती है वो, जब लोकल ट्रेन में. और क्या होता है, तो बोलता है सर that's a source of income. वो 3 या 4 बच्चे थे वो लोग, and you know that's how it is. फिर पूछा, एंड शी हैड डन वेल इन द फायरिंग. So she was very confident. And मैं क्या बोलना चाहता हूँ कि ये जो मैं फीलिंग से बात कर रहा हूँ, ये मेरी फीलिंग थी, उसकी बातों में ऐसी कोई फीलिंग नहीं थी. Anyway, they went, करने के चले गए आप लोग वहां पे मौलांका शूटिंग, और शूटिंग करके आ गए. एंड सडनली वन फाइन डे आई रियलाइज, it was on the 4th floor my office, so we came down and I was going to sit in my car, and suddenly I realized that there is a SEO बैच के साथ में there is a girl standing and smartly salutes, good morning sir. तो मैं ऑलमोस्ट बैठ रहा था गाड़ी में, तो बाहर निकल गया, मैं हाय गुड मॉर्निंग. तो मैंने उसको देखा, शी वाज द सेम गर्ल. She says कि सर we came yesterday and she had won the gold medal in Maulanka. And मैं मनी बताता हूँ, you have not been in NCC ना मनी?
मैं नहीं गया NCC.
मनी, I must tell you, ये RDC में जब बच्चे आते हैं ना, जो टाइप ऑफ ड्रिल दे डू इट, जो स्पीच देते हैं ना अपने, जो इनके कल्चरल प्रोग्राम्स होते हैं, दे आर सुपर क्लास, दे आर ऑफ द नेशनल स्टैंडर्ड, दे कैन मैच एनी इन्फेंट्री सोल्जर इन मार्चिंग. वो जो 8वीं क्लास का बच्चा जो टॉप मोस्ट डिग्निटरी, प्रेसिडेंट, वाइस प्रेसिडेंट, आर्मी चीफ, ये चीफ्स को ब्रीफिंग करते हैं वो लोग फ्लैग एरिया की, you find that, you know, lots of us will not have so much of confidence. They are so confident. उनमें गो बहुत होता है यार. I used to always say, if the folly is anything, the folly lies only with us. उन बच्चों में नहीं है folly. वो तो आसमान को तोड़ने को तैयार है यार. So limitation is us. They're so good. It is only that, of course, there has to be focused, you know, so that it must be job oriented, so that, you know, they should get polished for getting into the defense as officers. अगर C certificate करता है तो they should be trained in a manner so that, you know, महाराष्ट्र में cadets बहुत अच्छे होते थे, English speaking नहीं होती, जो कि हम बताते थे कि डोंट वरी, इंग्लिश की ऐसा नहीं कि हम जब गए थे तो हम कोई अंग्रेजी बोला करते थे, हम लोग भी टूटी फूटी अंग्रेजी बोलते थे, ऐसा कुछ नहीं था. बट पॉइंट इज वो थोड़ा सा उस टाइप से ही फोकस होना चाहिए. आफ्टर ऑल, why not? That is where the guy is going to lead. And today I'm connected with so many cadets today. They're all, you know, you feel so good. So it's a wonderful organization. And anyone who is there, I think that C certificate which is there, it has a separate selection center. You straightway go. Of course, you have to face the interview, and that's where the SSB comes into play. So that's what it is. It is a wonderful, I think, stepping stone. You mature. Their code is actually the grooming tomorrow's leaders. That's the slogan. They actually grow, you know, they're making a better citizens for tomorrow. So, and they do a whole lot of skit plays. पता नहीं क्या क्या करते हैं. So the highly talented organization. Limitation is our own creativity. So it is wonderful that way. Yeah, NCC is there.
Jayant, any advice for defense aspirants and No Frills Academy students?
Yeah, money, it is a I feel this is ये I think मेरी अपनी जिंदगी का निचोड़ ही है शायद. और मैंने हमेशा यही सोचा है कि शायद आपको ना बहुत सिंपल रहना बहुत जरूरी है. जस्ट सिंपल का मतलब ये नहीं कि आप सफेद धोती कुर्ता पहन के घूमने का मतलब. नो, नॉट दैट. इन योर थॉट्स यू शुड बी वेरी काम एंड कूल. या एवरेज कह लो, but I'm not talking. Keeping yourself in a state of coolness and calmness does what? It actually adds on to your clarity, decision making. It actually takes you to that level. It actually assists you in a lot of self-awareness. It does not let you go down from your belief patterns. So I'm just trying to explain what it is. तो आपको जैसा आपके माँ बाप ने बनाया है ना, और जैसा आपके माँ बाप आपको चाहते हैं ट्रूथफुल सेंस में कि मेरा बच्चा ऐसा रहे, नॉट कि वो इंजीनियर बन जाए, नो, नॉट दैट. एज अ चाइल्ड जैसे वो नर्चर किया था, ट्राई एंड बी देयर, सिंपल, ट्राई एंड बी दैट विद दैट सिंपलिसिटी कोड एंड ट्रूथफुलनेस. I think my advice is only that rest, everything will follow. I think you will be always a good soldier. You will always be able to, because we have to be autocratic also sometimes. And that's where that leadership, you know, all those names come into play, styles. you actually live up to all those styles. You know, when you are autocratic, when you have to be authoritative, like, you know, people talk about Kargil. There was no questions asked. You have to be there. Yeah, simple. Everyone was. And people said that we will go there. क्या उसको सीओ को नजर नहीं आता था? सबको पता था कि भाई आज ये इक्विपमेंट नहीं है, वो इक्विपमेंट नहीं है, ठीक है, but today that is the mission. Or whenever you want it, you have to be little, it's not being harsh, it is being truthful to that person to correct it. Like I used to tell guys, you know, कि मुझे interview में, if I am interviewing you, मेरी expectation एक ही है, just look into my eyes, that's all. And I used to try and see through his eyes. I said, नहीं बेटा, तुम जो होना है झूठ मत. You know, there are a lot of overstays. I say no. We framed in a manner and it reduced. But at the same time, there was a time, money. What I'm trying to say that be very simple, humane, honest, truthful to yourself. Love nature. I think nature, he, you know, embodies you a lot of goodness into yourself. I think money, because that little harshness or hardness ki jo baat hai na, I think in the existence of armed forces, there would have been no commanding officer who would have done 12 court martials in 10 days. 10 days consecutive. And there was a time when I told these guys after 1.5 years that, you know, आप लोगों को मैंने बहुत समझाया, बहुत लोग ठीक हो गए, but अभी आप नो ये आदमी आप लोग ठीक नहीं हो रहे. आप लोगों को 1 महीने का टाइम देता हूं बच्चों. I went and spoke to each and every guy soldier personally. I tried to correct him with a lot of honesty, a lot of sincerity, a lot of brotherliness, fatherly feeling. But I said कि यार, I think enough is enough. अब हमने डिसाइड करना है, क्योंकि आपने अगर रहना है तो फिर तो इस तरह से रहना है यार, इससे ज्यादा नहीं कर सकता. आई कांट डिवोट मोर टाइम. सो आई गिव देम 1 month. कुछ लोग फिर भी आगे ठीक हो गए, 12 बच गए, तो 12 का बिल्कुल ऑर्डर्स पब्लिश किए मैंने स्टेट वे टू बी कोर्ट मार्शल. एंड आउट ऑफ दैट 10 guys I court martial out of service. Not that I feel pride into that, no, not that. Those 10 guys who went, I'm sure where they are, they would have never felt bad against me. Because I was with them. I said, no, I think आप बाहर जाके अच्छा काम करो, जो भी है. There were 2 guys, I had to leave it because my command said कि one guy कि no sir, इनको मत भेजिए. उसको पता है कि there everyone is going. So what I'm trying to say that you have to be very justifiable. You have to be very honest in your deeds, simple in your deed. And that is where the truthfulness, I think ये होना बहुत जरूरी है. I think this sails you through every environment, but more precisely through the defense. Because when I do a lot of mindfulness coaching today, so I have done a mindfulness coach. So when I was talking to some guys, I say, यार मेरे को ना अब ये सब क्यों पढ़ता हूँ मैं? Because I try to see कि मैं कल क्या करता था, आज यहाँ पे उसको कुछ अलग फ्रेम में सर्टिफिकेशन कोर्स है, तो I also did it. I told them कि mindfulness is being in that moment, specific moment with a purpose. In the present moment with a purpose. I say वो जो फौजी में लोग किसी एनकाउंटर में हो, एम्बुश में हो, पेट्रोलिंग में हो, he is there 100%. That is this level of mindfulness a soldier has to be. That is he has to be totally at peace while being at war. And मैंने उनको बोला एक बार, थोड़े spiritual leaders भी थे, and I was
यार आपको तो गोली का पता ही नहीं चला.
That's what I'm saying. That is the level of mindfulness a soldier goes through it. That is the peacefulness in that chaos the soldier goes through it. He has to maintain. That is the peacefulness of mind a soldier has to practice in the entire VUCA, turbulence, whatever you name it. So I said, that is what the soldier is. He has to be totally cool and calm, precise. It does not mean that he is weak. You become stronger when you are into this. Your answering abilities, your truthfulness, आप घबराते नहीं हो सच बोलने के लिए. I remember Mani your case when my daughter had gone for your interview, okay, SSB. Okay, and she comes back and tells me that, I met a guy, he was interviewing me, and she didn't tell me that, he says he was so funny and he was like this and that, and वो सवाल ही नहीं पूछे टेढ़ा बड़ा. I'm telling about Col Nehru. And then he said कि उन्होंने फिर बोला कि no, so and so is your father. मुझे exact dialogues नहीं थे. She came and said, and then she said कि उन्होंने बोला कि is he still maintaining the waistline as 28? She said कि तब मेरे को लगा कि I think they are closely known to each other. बोलती उसके पहले मैं सोच रही थी what is this nonsense यार? How come he is talking like this? So anyway, so it is beautiful, of course. You have to keep your peace of mind, and that's what it is. बाकी it is something like money की मैं लोगों को बाहर वालों को बोलता हूँ कि यार कोई भी रोड से चलता हुआ आदमी आए 4 घंटे दे दो मैं उसको फायरर बना दूंगा. He'll start firing. बट उसको एक अच्छा इंसान बनाने के लिए मुझे बहुत टाइम चाहिए और एक अच्छा सोल्जर बनाने के लिए ना उसको लाइफ टाइम चाहिए. It doesn't become a soldier like that. So that is what. And when I was in Bombay in NCC as a colonel, I went to one of the engineering colleges for some talk. I think this is where for everyone it will be interesting. So उनको मैंने बोला कि मैंने कहा यार देखो भाई तुम लोग यंग बच्चे हो, would you want me to give a presentation? Because आपके प्रिंसिपल ने बोला है कि सर ऐसा कोई talk motivation talk देना है, या you want to have an interaction one to one. तो naturally young minds बोले सर we would like to talk. मैंने कहा कोई बात नहीं है. तो मैंने खटाखट 5-7 मिनट में अपनी स्लाइड्स दिखाई और मैंने कहा चलो लेट्स हैव ओपन टॉक. बच्चों हो गए तो उनका 2-3 का सवाल आया कि सर ये बताइए कि व्हाई पीपल डू नॉट वांट टू जॉइन आर्मी स्टिल. बहुत कम लोग जाना चाहते हैं. मैं कहा यार ये सवाल तुम्हारा थोड़ी है, तो बहुत पुराना सवाल है. हम लोग के टाइम में भी लोग बोलते थे कि व्हाई डू यू वांट टू जॉइन आर्मी, और फिर भी लोग इतने होते हैं फिर व्हाई डू पीपल डू नॉट वांट टू जॉइन आर्मी. मैं कहा यार देखो ऐसा है. मैं कहा कि उसी बीच में किसी ने और बोला कि छोड़ यार ये सर की वो शौर्य चक्र स्टोरी सुनते हैं. आई कुड हियर ओवर हियर दैट. तो मैं कहा सुनो ऐसा है, लेट मी सी. तो आई नरेटेड दैट स्टोरी. मैं कहा ये मेरी शौर्य चक्र की अवार्ड की उस एक एनकाउंटर की स्टोरी है. अब फ्रॉम हियर ओनली आई विल आंसर यू द अदर क्वेश्चंस. मैं कहा देखो यार 18 साल 17 साल की उम्र में आपको बच्चे को क्या चाहिए होता है, व्हाट डज योर माइंड आस्क. तो लोगों ने बोला सर स्कोरिंग. मैं कहा यार सब बेकार की बात करते हो. अरे बचपन जो उस यूथफुलनेस की बात करो ना, खेलना हो मस्ती करना हो. आई एडेड बाय डिजाइन एडेड रोमांस है, एडवेंचर है. तो व्हेन सर्च वर्ड्स केम अप दैट यू कुड हियर दैट वॉइस कि रोमांस है, एडवेंचर है. मैं कहा यस. आई सेड जो फीलिंग ऑफ रोमांस आती है ना उस एनकाउंटर में व्हेन आई वाज देयर, अगर उस कैटेगरी के रोमांस का आपकी डिजायर है ना, प्लीज ज्वाइन आर्मी. नहीं तो जो आप लोग सोच रहे वही वाला रोमांस करो. वी डोंट नीड सच पीपल. सो व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से दैट मेकिंग अ सोल्जर it is only possible when you are truthful, simple. And because I also I felt so happy, Mani, when you talked to me. I think it is my best moments when you asked me to come and deliver a talk to your people. Because I pardon you for saying this, because not that too many people I rate very high in my consciousness. I don't tell people, but and not that because he's heading No Frills Academy, not that we have been in touch so much, but Mani, it is I've always been a great admirer of you, since academy days when we came up, and the way you dealt, your ever smiling face. I think हम तो उसके 25% में नहीं आ सकते. आप किसी का दुख दर्द हो आपसे मिले तो वैसे ही दर्द खत्म हो जाए, ट्रेनिंग तो बाद में होगी. So that is the I think you are the best one. And when I heard that you run that academy which is known as No Frills Academy, ये बहुत दिन पहले की बात है. I thought about it. I said not कि ये जिगर होना चाहिए कुछ एक इस टाइप के awkward and funny name रखने के लिए. जिगर होना चाहिए. Though there may be some people, there are a lot of sellability into that also, because I see a lot of sellability and marketing, a lot of things. But knowing you, I think it's a wonderful thing. So anyway, it has been a wonderful talking. और कुछ होगा मनी को बताना.
Jayant, it has been such a pleasure talking to you, and you took out your time to speak to our students. I know you have been involved with, like, you do everything with the total commitment and involvement. So you've been totally involved in speaking to these young kids. So it's so nice